perché diciamo che è stato più lungo del previsto.
Veramente un po' più lontano il microfono, per cortesia. Okay, so your first impressions today?
Well, it's a beautiful, very beautiful historic building. It just had, a lot of compromise because of the World Cup. The addition.
And what are you planning to do then? Have you got some ideas already, or?
Well, I don't know yet, because it is really just our first impression. So I think we have to go back now and study it. But I think the important things is that we need to look at a stadium that has the seating on the pitch. Obviously, the compromise of having the athletics track is a big problem.
Why is that?
Well, because the spectators are too far away from the pitch. So, in a very modern stadium, that you have the home field advantage of having the loud noise of the crowd and the supporters. You want them to be very close to the pitch. So that was difficult to do in this configuration.
So this is disadvantage, and what about the advantages that you?
Well, the biggest advantage is you have a beautiful setting and you have a beautiful historic stadium that's just been covered up, with the steel works from the World Cup for the capacity. But once you don't have the track and you move the seats closer, then you don't need the same capacity that, or to do it in the same way that was done here. So it's a beautiful stadium inside, something we just need to remove. I think starting with taking away rather than bringing something to it.
And what about the surroundings?
Surroundings are incredible. I mean, it's one of the most beautiful settings I've ever seen for a stadium, and it's very urban, so it connects to the heart of the city, and that's very unusual. So yeah, I think there's lots of opportunity to make it a beautiful stadium again.
How long do you expect the works to last?
Well, it's hard to say. I mean, it takes us a few months to kind of develop the ideas and to look at what the options are and what we can do. We have to be very careful to maintain the historic structure, so you don't come in and just sort of start over. You have to sort of unwrap. So it takes a few months to look at that and understand, and then decide what is the best option to go for.
Have you been looking at sketches from local architects already? And
yes.
Will you be working with someone in Bologna?
Absolutely. It's very important that we come and we haven't met with anyone in specific, but there have been a number of architects that have worked on it, and it's important for us to work with people who understand how to build in Bologna. And we have the incredible resources of the club and the people that have been with the stadium for a long time. And there's a loving history to the building. There's a lot of memory here, so we want to capture all that. It's not about bringing a new stadium and dropping it in.
And in terms of money?
You see. We don't know yet.
Well, you've been working in Italy already, so do you have an idea?
The stadium that we've worked on in Italy is new, so it's a different way of looking at it. Here, we tend to look at what are the options and what could you do for this amount of money, this amount of money, this amount of money. And so it's just very too early to tell.
And do you plan to work while the team still plays here,
if
or
possible? Yeah,
that would be your option.
Yeah, it's always a challenge when the team has to play somewhere else. But again, that's part of what we have to look at is can we do. Now, there's a lot of extra room when you start to push the field in, so maybe there's a way of phasing it and doing it, we hope. So that'll be one of the first things we study.
Sorry, one more. You think that you will have a collaboration with the cultural heritage of the city, the municipality?
Without a doubt, yes.
Yeah, because you know that it's a very historical building here. Huh?
Of course.
Yeah.
And that's very important to us.
Okay. You know all the things about because it's so artistical.
Yeah. I think that's very important. We don't want it to be perceived that American would come here and just think we know how to do this. There's such a huge history here in this building, and that's what we think is very important. And in fact, some of the schemes usually that you see, people are trying to make it modern and new and completely different. And I think this is about capturing the history. So working with the municipality and the local architects and all of that, very important.
Okay. Thank
Very
you so
last thing, what about the gym, the other facilities that are around the gym downstairs or the basketball field right
Well, I
next
think
door?
the brilliance of the original concept of the project was it was a sport and cultural complex. That's very important because you only have so many games in the stadium, and maybe some concerts. So to find a way to make the site active all the time is better for the city, it's better for the stadium. So we very much want to integrate those uses.
Okay.
Thanks.